Hi everyone, I'm Lucrècia Centelles. I'm a PhD student from the University of Valencia in Spain, in eastern Spain. And I'm here in behalf of my team, Sensing Iberianscapes, which is based mostly in Valencia, but we also have some colleagues in other universities, like here in the NTNU. And I would like to introduce you to the work we do, to the team, to the time period where we focus, but especially I wanted to talk to you about the LiDAR analysis that we do in the project. So the Sensing Iberianscapes project was born thanks to the drive of Carmen, Cuenca-García. She worked for many years here at the university in the Institute of Cultural History and Archaeology. And she started a project in Valencia collaborating with Iberian archaeologists, Iberian Iron Age archaeologists such as Consuelo Mata Parreño. And she's a geophysicist specialist. But then the project evolved a bit, and the new project was born with a wider and broader approach to include also other methodologies. And this is where I also came in to work with the LiDAR data and to see what I could give and apport to the team. So as I have said, we have a broader team. We also include geochemical analysis. We have a colleague in the Valencia University, Gianni Galello, who was a chemist, to do analysis. Also, we work with other specialized archaeologists in Iberian Iron Age. And of course, I wanted to mention and thank especially Ulle Risbol and Magnar Moyaren for being a great help with their visits to Spain with the LiDAR analysis. So I wanted to introduce you a little bit, since we are a bit far to the people we are trying to study, which are the Iberians. We call them Iberians. These are what we call Second Iron Age populations in the eastern Peninsula Iberica. Is it working? Yeah. So we call Iberians the people that live in this area in red, between the 7th to the 1st century before Christ. And even if we call them that, they were not a unified political entity. They were different groups that can vary a lot culturally, politically, among the territory and among the whole lifespan of the culture that we call Iberian. So these populations had some common traits that allow us to call them Iberians, with a complex levels of social organization, political organization, urbanism, and economic strategies, and even religious beliefs and language that we can see on them. So it's important to have in mind that even if we call them that, they were not a unity. Like, for instance, our main focus on the project is this part of Valencia. We have selected various quite different sites, and in this case it shows quite well that we have bigger cities and then smaller hill forts, we call them. We also call them oppida, where sites on top, usually they are walled. And we see big variations upon time zones. Sometimes this city could control a bigger territory, but in other moments they were quite more independent. We also have some necropolis and production sites. We are very interested in, for instance, in this area. It is a mining area, and currently we are doing a lot of work with Ulle and Magnar to try to understand better the production there. So as I have said, we use minimally invasive methodologies combining remote sensing and proximal sensing, near-surface geophysics, and soil analysis to detect hidden features. So we want to approach the territory from a broader scale, but also to a very small scale, to a site scale. That's why we need to do a lot of maps. So most of our work still goes around geophysical studies. Here we see, this is our base team, this is Carmen and Valeria, and that's me. We do GPR, magnetometry, and we walk a lot. And then we have the LiDAR. So even if I have the picture here, we've been collaborating with the NTNU to try a drone-based LiDAR sensor, also a multispectral drone, but the data is still processing, so I won't be able to show you much about this, maybe next year. So it will be really interesting to see how the high-density point clouds work with the Valencian Mediterranean vegetations, which can be quite challenging. So for now, I usually focus on the national public data, which I suppose many of you already know. In Valencia, we have the whole territory covered with a quite low quality point clouds. So from now on, I would like to focus on this data and of how much we've been able to see using this quite low quality data. The thing is that in Spain, we have had 3 coverages, but at each territory it's quite independent. So for instance, the quality can vary a lot. In Valencia, the second coverage was just half point per square meter, whilst in Navarra and northern Spain it was 14 points, which is actually quite nice. But in Valencia we are not as lucky, and as if we zoom the dense vegetation, the density, the resolution can be quite low. I'm also unlucky because the third coverage, which is being undertaken now, it's already done in Valencia, but it has not been published. They've been waiting for those data for a year, so I hope that they release it before I finish my thesis. So I mostly work with the second coverage. Here I have the enemy in Valencia, which are the very dense Maquia Mediterranean vegetation, which is mostly pine trees and very low dense shrubs, which can make very complicated the analysis, the terrain analysis, even for probably even for the drone-based LiDAR. And we also have a very intense anthropic modifications of the landscape. For instance, in Valencia we have many terraced slope, dry stone, that can cover whole mountains. So everything is quite modified, and to look back and to try to find these Iberian populations from the first millennium before Christ can be quite challenging, apart from the sites that we already know, which, I mean, in Valencia archaeology, Iron Age archaeology is quite good. So we do know a lot about them, but studying the territory can be quite useful to learn even more. So I wanted to bring you a couple cases where the second coverage has proven to be quite useful at bit enough. So in this case we have the Pico de los Serranos, which is a small hill fort that was already known by the cultural heritage in Valencia, but was misplaced on the georeferenced maps. So it was placed here. And when we studied the area and wanted to go to visit the site, we prepared a few maps, and it quickly showed this place that was quite interesting. And we soon saw that this was not, this was not the the place we were looking for, but it was here. So, so we see that in concrete areas where we know that there are sites, having this LiDAR data can be quite useful. For instance, here we can see this part. This is part of the town wall. We have another case which is very close to Pico de los Serranos. This one arrived because we visited the other one, which is here. So here we see this feature, and this one is there are no sites cataloged in this area, but it was quite intriguing. So we made a visit there, and we saw this super thick wall, but we didn't saw anything else. No archaeological material at all, no pottery, anything. But it didn't look as a herding pen either, so it was quite strange. And in the end, after giving it a thought, I think maybe it could be related to the Spanish Civil War, because we know that on that time, and especially in places where they did not even have cement, they used dry stone to make their defenses against the nationals. So it could be related to that, but since especially these more remote areas for the Civil War are not very well known, and the popular memory has been quite lost about the specific war zones. We are not sure for sure until maybe if we find some more extra proofs. But this also proves quite useful to try to, now that the Spanish government is moving a bit more the study of the Spanish Civil War, I'm very sure LiDAR can be very useful to find in these more remote places where even there were not battles, just locals trying to build the structures to defend themselves, and in many cases they just were dry stone walls. But in a case, this is not Iberian, so we go back to the Iberians, and I think I'm being super quick. But I wanted to bring you a little bit of what I've been tasting with the third coverage in Spain. So this is not Valencia, because it hasn't been released yet. This is Teruel. This is here, which is quite close to Valencia, and they had first published a point cloud of the third coverage. It was pre-classified, but still not very well classified. And this is El Alto Chacón. This is also a well-known oppida of Hillfold Iberian, of Celtiberian, which is managed by the Museo de Teruel and the Diputación de Teruel, and is actually currently being excavated by Marta Blasco, University of Valencia, and Marta Polo from Universitat de Alcalá. And I thought this site could be interesting to study, since they are already there and can help with understanding what we see on the LiDAR data. So this is the site. As you see, this excavated area has quite big walls, but the rest of the site has not been excavated. And here we can compare this is a hill shade treated in a similar way from the second coverage in 2020, and this is from the third coverage in 2022. As this is around 1 point per square meter density, and this is 5. As I said, and this coverage, the classification is not very good, so I tried to reclassify a little bit, but in the end I saw that using just the last return points worked quite well in this site, since it doesn't have any high vegetation. But as you all can see, even 5 pounds is not points. Sorry, it's not very good either. You can start to see better features, and even you see here in this area the terrain is a bit rocked, while it should be just the terraced. So it will be very interesting to work a bit with that and check if there's any structures there where this is supposed to be outside of the city walls, which were around here. Could be structures also related to the Iberian settlement, or maybe later structures related even to civil war, or we don't know. But we do see that this new coverage can be very helpful. And so, yeah, I've been super quick, I think, but I just wanted to show you in this presentation how we are using this national available public data, even if low quality. I do think that it can be useful, I mean, of course, for territory analysis, for path, coast analysis, visibility, and just to provide maps for the team. But even that, just analyzing features and trying to find new structures could be useful. But in my experience, for what I have seen, it's not great for finding new features in random places. It's more useful to look on places where you already suspect there are archaeological features, because the territory has been so modified that there's not enough resolution to really try to see much. But yeah, it's really good to revisiting areas where, for instance, in the heritage, in the Valencian Heritage Office, we have thousands of points. Most of them are well put and well placed, but sometimes they get misplaced, and LiDAR can be quite useful to find the position of those sites. And yeah, now I wanted to, I'm not sure if this can play. I want just to finish with Ule and Magnar trying to walk around the Valencian territory, which can be quite challenging, and I'm super excited to work with the data that we collected, and hoped to be able to compare the national data with the drone data and see what we got. So, thank you.